mean, you never know, like people get tired after lunch. So we're not going to talk very long, and I'll try to make it as entertaining as possible and a little interactive. But we do need to talk about the magical 32 that Katie's been talking about this whole time. So most of us know what the 32 count is intuitively. And even if we're not like, this is 32 count beats, we just know. So when we do turbo kick, we build everything on that 32 count phrase, and that's what we were doing. Like when Katie was doing one layer, she would do one 32 count phrase of it, and then she'd move on to another layer for 32 counts, and then she'd move on to another 32 count to do both of those layers and move on that way. And like I said, even if you aren't musical or if you're not acutely aware of what the 32 count phrase is, most of us know what it is intuitively. And I'm sure, has anybody been to a turbo kick class where the instructor's off the beat? It's insane, I know, it drives people insane. You're just like, wait, that's not actually what you're supposed to be doing. What are you doing? And you might not know exactly what he or she is doing wrong, but you know it's wrong, right? And so we just have to kind of feel that beat. And don't worry if you're not musical in any way. You don't have to be super musical in order to get it. You will get it, and the music allows you to get it because it's super duper obvious. So with the 32 count phrase, there are 4 8-count phrases within a 32 count phrase, right? So there's 32 beats basically in that 32 count phrase, and then that 8-count phrase is in 4 little subdivisions. So when you think about it, a move takes usually about 8 counts. So you can do a move 4 times within a 32 count phrase. So if you're doing a double bob, you know, this is 1, hit, and that's 8 counts there. And then you can do that 4 times for the 32 count phrase. So we're actually going to listen to the music a little bit so that I can see what we're going to do. We're all going to close our eyes and get in with the music. And I'm going to actually have you hold up your hand every time you hear the 32 count switch, right? And just to see what's going on. Because again, even if you don't think you know it, I bet you know it. Can I turn the music on? Yeah? I don't really know. Like,
Yeah, it should be queued to 5.
oh, just,
Yeah, just press play. You can use a different track. This is not a good one. Yeah, that's not fair.
So when most of you knew it exactly at, and that's why I had you close your eyes so that you wouldn't be like, oh, the person next to me does a different 32 count. But most of you know exactly when it is. It's a little unfair because I just started it in the middle of a 32 count phrase, and so you had to kind of know. But you'll notice the music is actually built so that you can hear it, and it gets builder and builder and bigger and bigger during those 4 8 counts, so that it's kind of a big deal when that 32 count switches. So now, I don't want you to actually show me, but I'm going to show you where the 32 count is, just so you can hear that build of the music, because it's the essence of turbo kick, right? The music is the important part. Why do you go to turbo kick? It's because it's fun, it's awesome, but it's also because the music is incredible. They actually make the moves go right with the music so that you feel driven the entire time. So I'm going to play that note. So, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hit. Now listen to the first 8 count. Alright, so we're here. And then it builds a little bit, right? Now the third one's a little bit bigger. Listen to 4. 4. You can hear it? that the more you listen to the music, the easier it becomes. Like Katie said, my car is my office too. I sit in the car and I listen to that music and I cue before I do anything, and especially when I was a new instructor, because I wanted to know that music inside and out. Like I could actually know when a musical phrase was going to switch, what move would be on that phrase, you know, because that's how much I listen to it, right? And also what the music gives you is that you learn where kind of the music goes really, really well with the choreography, and you can kind of get into it, and then you can say little phrases of the music and everything like that. It's just little tips for instructors to make your class a little bit more fun too. So really, really get into the music, get into that 8-count phrase. But the cool thing, every, not every, but most pre-choreographed workouts have choreography that works with a 32-count phrase. So when you listen to a music on the radio, it might not be neatly pieced into all those little 32 counts, but in Turbo Kick, you're never going to have a song like you would in Body Pump where it's like this weird, you have to do 6 or 7 squats before you have to go into the next one. They're always going to make it really, really neat for you. So it's all 32-count phrases. You never have to worry about that 32-count phrase going away. It's always going to be there. And if you get off of it, no big deal. You'll get back on. I promise, even you, if you don't understand the music at all, you'll start hearing it. You'll be like, oh, I'm off, you know? And then you have to come into it, and you will get the 32 count no matter what. So, are there any questions that I can answer before I kind of move on from that about really where the 32 count falls or where the 8 count falls or anything like that? Okay, good. You're all just incredibly intelligent, and I love that. But questions are really, really good, so come and talk to me at any time. Does anybody have any questions about how we layer with the 32 count or why the 32 count is so important to Turbo Kick? Because I love it. Yes, awesome. Why is it so important? Why does Katie love that 32 count phrase? Because it makes it neat and even, and it makes it easier for your participants to follow. So when she was talking about the recipe of Turbo Kick, that's part of the recipe. That when you layer and you do one move for 32 counts, and then you move on and you do the second move for 32 counts, and then you move on and you do both of them together for 32 counts, that's allowing your participants to understand the formula. And like I said, they're intuitively going to get it so that they can learn it faster and they can feel more successful more quickly, right? So we've designed it so that even though it is complicated choreography, which it is compared to a lot of X formats, you have the ability to take as long or as little as you need for any move. So let's say we were doing a move for 32 counts and you're looking around and your 80% hasn't gotten it yet, right? And sometimes there are moves like that where you're like, oh, I'm gonna have to stay on this, right? Because the music is all so neatly phrased into little 32 count phrases, you can stay on that one move for 6 32 counts if you wanted to, you know? You could stay on it for, there's 11 in each big A section, right? There's that number again, 11 right there. But you could stay on it for 11 32 counts if you felt like it, the class needed to do it. But it allows for you as an instructor to always know where you are. It's like a little roadmap. But it also allows for your participants to know where you are, right? So that they can learn it more easily, and then when they come back, it's easier for them to learn as well. So they know what's going to happen. They know what to expect. Every time a new round comes out, they can expect that you're going to do moves and you're going to build the exact same way. So even though it's new moves, they know that they're going to get 32 counts or however long the teacher wants to of practice time before they move on to something else. And so it makes it very neat, it makes it easy to learn, and it makes your participants feel successful and you as an instructor to feel successful. And that's what we want. Because if you're not feeling totally into the music or if you don't get it, then you're not going to feel successful, and that's absolutely not going to make your participants feel successful. So use the tools we have. We are so lucky to get this music cut for us in this exact way that it just blends right into the next 32 count. Everything is perfect and neatly lined. Even when we're in the turbo, it's all in a 32 count phrase. It's just a little bit different with the choreography. We don't build the same way, but it's still, you can hear when things are supposed to change, right? And we add those amazing sound effects. this music, like Katie's shirt says back there, the music matters, right? And that's the magic of Turbo Kick, is that we make this that easy for you to know and to follow. Katie, do you have anything to add to the music part of it?
No, I think Lindsay explained it. Why is it so important? People naturally expect to change on the 32 count, even if they don't know it, number one. Number two, your life is so much easier because you never have to memorize, I have to do this 4 times, I have to do it 8 times, I have to do it 16 times. You just finish the phrase. You always just finish the phrase. Like it's something that, like I said, innately in that moment, like if you have to stay on that move for however long, you're not stressed about, did I do it for 16 times, should I do it 16 times on the other side? You're like, no, I just do it for 2 phrases and we're good. So.
Absolutely. Does anybody teach body pump in here, or no? It's memorizing numbers.
Yep.
That's what you have to memorize. You're like, okay, it's 3, 3, 1, and then it's 5, 2, 2. I mean, it's a way harder to memorize, and your participants would never be able to memorize it. Whereas in Turbo Kick, they can learn it, and then the more they learn it, the more they get out of the workout. And so that by week 6, even though they're doing the same choreography, they're doing it harder and better than they were in week 1, which means that they're going to continue to progress. And that's really cool too. It's just built-in progression, right? All right, so let's talk a little bit about cueing before we go on to anything else. So can somebody give me an example of a cue? Absolutely, I love it. So a cueing is a warning system, right? That's your whole system that you're saying, this is what's coming up next. Now there's several different kinds of cues. So what you said, those are anticipatory cues, right? So when we say jab, cross, hook up, we're saying it before the move happens so that everybody knows when it's going to happen. We'll talk more about when you're supposed to say it. Don't worry about that, which I am working on myself as well. And then there's also motivational cues. So can somebody give me an example of motivational cue?
Come on, rock.
That's right. Rock it, that kind of stuff. And so you can do those kind of cues. Now with Turbo Kick, we also have directional cues, right? Because if you say step right, uppercut, then people are going to step right, uppercut, right? Instead, if you just say uppercut, then people might just throw an uppercut out there. Or like Katie said, it's always the right lead, so they're going to throw out a right uppercut. So those are the kind of cues you have to think about too. Sometimes you have to say a little bit more, and then you can back off, right? So we say twist, and then we'll go into a twist, and it's a jab, cross, jab, knee, right? And I'll say that in class. I'll say jab, cross, jab, knee, and I'll say it over and over again until I see that everybody has gotten the jab, cross, jab, knee. But then you can just say twist and make it really, really concise. So there's lots of different ways to cue. And those are all verbal cues, right? You notice when the mic goes out, I was doing a whole lot of this, right? What's that? It's directional, but what kind? So we talked about verbal cues, nonverbal, or visual cues, right? I felt like I was teaching Zumba in here, like over here, that kind of stuff. And that's what we do. We do visual cues just to kind of give people another range, way to see what you're going to do in class. Remember, you have a total gamut of people. Like she said, you're teaching to Homer Simpson and Superman and everybody in between, and all those people have different learning styles, right? So sometimes if you do this, people are going to go to the left immediately, or if you say to the left, they're going to know to the left, and people just have to hear different things. So it's our job as instructors to kind of mix and match those kind of cues so that everybody in the class can have a chance to feel successful. When you have kinesthetic learners, they need to do it, but you might need to say, I need you to drive through that hip on the uppercut so that you can really feel that, or squeeze through your glute, or show me ugly booty, or that kind of stuff, because people get it different.